Beautiful smile.
Hi, and welcome to Community Hotline. My name is Monica Weitzel. We're here at MetroEast Community Media in Gresham, Oregon. Glad you're with us tonight. It's about 90 degrees outside right now. I know my friend Julie says she's out there having a margarita. But we are in here in the studio, and we have some great people to talk with tonight. First, we're going to start out with Family Life Skills of Oregon, and with us are Pam and Mike Hughes. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having us.
We're delighted to have you here. Pam, you are the administrative director. And Mike, you're the assistant administrative director.
That's correct.
So she's your boss.
And
Yes.
I'm the gopher.
Okay, well, you know, somebody's got to do it, right?
That's right. That's right.
So Family Life Skills of Oregon, how long has that been in existence? How long has the organization been in Oregon?
Well, ours in Oregon has been in existence for about 5 years.
But originated in Denver, is that correct?
Yes, we're an affiliate of an international organization, nonprofit. It's called Life Skills International, and they've been going for 30 plus years.
Oh, wow, that's a long time. That's
Yep.
a good history. Now, if I remember correctly from a little bit of research I did, it started out more as a domestic violence kind of prevention program. Is that or not so much prevention as to deal with people who are victims of domestic violence? Is that correct? Is that sort of how it started? Give me a little of the history, if you would.
Yep. You want to do that?
It actually started out to deal with the perpetrators of domestic violence, because that's what Dr. Paul Hagstrom was.
Okay.
He was
the
very
founder.
violent. He was all the things that they write books about that are not good. And so he, through his efforts to be healed and not being able to find anything that would really go to the core issues that just dealt with the service issues, he started his own research program, and he developed this curriculum out of that research, out of his own life.
Wow, that's a rather profound way to deal with a problem. I mean, take your own problem and turn it into a life-changing experience and a career.
Right.
So, and I imagine that did change his life.
It did.
Yeah.
Absolutely turned it around.
Wow.
He went from what he was. If you've ever seen the TV movie Unforgivable, starring John Ritter, that's a story of Dr. Paul's life.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
I've heard. I don't think I've seen it, but I have heard of it. Oh, now I have to watch it.
Yeah.
I'll be darned. So, how did you two become involved with this? Did you have a background in working in this field?
We were at a convention, and Dr. Paul spoke.
Oh, okay.
And it's actually a convention of the church that we attend. And we sat there and we thought, this is really interesting. And our pastor looked at me and said, we're going to do this.
Really?
And I went, cool. That's great. I'm thinking to myself,
Who are you gonna get to
somebody's
do
going to
this?
really have their hands full with this. And he kind of sat up and he looked at me right in the eye and he goes, no, Mike, we are going to do this. And that's how we,
you two.
we meaning us.
Wow.
And that's how we got started. And
You took the challenge and you went for it, huh?
that's right.
So what does that mean? What exactly does Family Life Skills do? I mean, it's classes, it's a program. Give me a little bit of rundown, Pam. Maybe you can tell me how the whole how the program works.
Okay, it's a 30-week program, which people gasp and go, it's like, I can't give 30 weeks out of my life. But it's really, it goes so fast. It's once a week we meet. Sometimes some of the programs can go twice a week, but it's 3 hours once a week, and it goes for 30 weeks, so it's 6 months commitment. And it is video driven, so we have like professionals come in and talk via the DVDs.
Okay.
And we have a workbook and then discussion. So the 3 hours goes really fast.
So the discussion among the people that are in the group. About how many do you usually have in a group?
Typical is anywhere, we can go up to 15, but a nice number is about 12.
That way
10 to
people
12.
have enough one-on-one and being able to actually exchange ideas and support and that kind of thing. Now, you said originally, Mike, you mentioned that it was originally for the perpetrators. Is that not the case now? Has it expanded past that?
It has expanded to where we basically teach life skills to anybody and everybody.
Okay. So you don't necessarily have to be in a situation where you've been a victim of domestic violence or a perpetrator of domestic violence. It goes way beyond that now.
That's correct. Yeah.
It originally started, as Mike said, as the DV project, Domestic Violence Project. And then from there, it morphed into a whole life. So we teach people how to manage their emotions and anger and understand how to communicate better, how to build intimacy and to manage anger and
what a proper relationship looks like, communication skills. We go into reactive lifestyles, what they are, how to
What do you mean by a
defeat.
reactive lifestyle?
Reacting in a tense situation with anger or rage as
okay.
opposed to responding properly in a way that would constructively take care of the situation.
Okay.
But basically what it does is that we deal with the core issues of a person. So most therapies will deal with the symptom, the surface. Okay, so they're angry and they'll give you coping skills to do with the anger. We go to the core. And we were just talking with someone in the Department of Correction and they said, you know, we have a lot of programs to teach them how to do a checkbook or teach them how to do a job interview or dress or whatever.
Sure.
But she says, we don't go to the core. So we deal with the core issues. And typically, there's 5 main traumas or things that happen in our childhood that can cause arrested development. And that is where emotionally you quit growing. So have you ever, I've been hopping mad. Have you ever had someone and come up against something and they act like a child?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Okay, well,
I may have done that myself on
yes, me
occasion.
too. So what it is that, so the 5 main traumas are rejection, which is the same as abandonment,
Okay.
molestation.
A parent leaving maybe the family, that kind of thing?
Or it can even be something like a divorce,
Right, right.
or a death,
Right, okay.
or
Usually something you have no control over, I
right.
would imagine.
I had a school teacher in 4th grade who ridiculed me in front of the class.
Oh, wow.
And I remember that to the day.
And you don't let those things go either.
No.
You
And
hold
when
on to
you're a
them, sure.
child, see, you do not have the chemicals in your brain to process that and know that, well, this hasn't anything to do with me.
It's their problem, not yours, yes.
So rejection, molestation, incest, emotional and physical abuse are the ones that cause where you'll actually arrest in your emotional development.
Wow.
So we will help them identify where that happened. We don't go back and do psychology stuff, but we're a psychoeducational program where we teach.
Okay.
We are facilitators, we are not counselors. And so we teach and give them the information and they find out, understand where the wound came from, why they're reacting, the behaviors in a way that is inappropriate, that they don't want to do.
Right.
You know, why do I do what I don't want to do? So once you understand that, the brain can take it and process it and then make sense out of the craziness of our life. And then you can actually, and they've done studies on it too, where the brain rewires around that trauma and will continue the maturing then. So by the end of phase 1, you could actually be emotionally at 18 years old.
So there's hope. There's hope.
There is hope.
There's hope.
Yes.
How do most people come to you? How do they find out about you? Is it a referral basis? Are people just, is it word of mouth?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
We
All of the above.
do a lot of referrals from our students. We do a lot of things like this, as many as we can. We're very active in the community. We do a lot of word of mouth. We advertise in the paper. anything, a website. We have an
However you can
incredible
get the word out.
website,
Yeah.
and just any way that we can get the word out on the street.
And do you feel like you've made a difference in people's lives?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've got gals that have gone to counseling for years.
And you work with both men and women, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yes, but we have the women facilitators just do women,
Okay.
and the guys
then
do the
work with
guys.
men. Okay.
Because especially where there's been trauma or there's been abuse, we do power and control well. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I never heard of it before this. But there's many different forms of abuse, and we think that maybe abuse is where, well, I had one gal, in fact, she says, I didn't think that I was in an abusive relationship until he hit me. But as she learned, she said he was controlling me verbally.
Yeah.
And humiliation and some other things too. And so anyway, through that, we have, I can't remember what I was saying now. but
the women,
yeah.
the women work with the women, the men work with the because
That's
a lot of
correct.
times the issues are gender.
yes,
specific.
and then they don't feel like they have to be careful what they're saying.
Right, that makes sense. Now, you provided me a video of a young woman who was talking about her experiences in this program. I thought it was a very powerful video, so I was thinking we should maybe take a look at that now and
Okay.
show our viewers kind of some of what somebody else got out of this program.
Okay.
So let's take a look at that.
Great.
All right, thanks.
My name's Misty Rush, and I got pushed into this class actually by my mom. She had already taken it, and so had my brother. And I saw the changes in my brother, which were huge, and that pushed me to want to make it to come. At the time when we first started, me and my husband, we lived all the way down in Seaside, and so we traveled up here every single week just to be able to come to this. And it wasn't until like the last week or two of class, my husband reminded me, because it's the first time we've ever gotten along, that we had agreed that this class was going to make or break our marriage. We struggled from the get-go. Everything pretty much started off bad, and it only got worse. And after having to endure an affair, I pretty much thought it was never going to work. But I had such a strong faith in marriage and the vows that I made that I decided to keep with it. And that's when we found the class. And it actually wasn't until like 4 weeks until we were done. We were both still ready to call it done. And then we went through one of the classes that was about neurolinguistics programming. It's about communication. And that was the one thing we obviously really lacked in. Communication with us was either silent treatment or screaming and yelling. And I remember the night I went through the class, we were a week ahead, and I called my husband, and before that we hadn't been living together, we weren't even talking. And I remember talking with him for like 3 hours, and pretty much ever since then, we have been able to overcome every single argument we've gotten into. And I can't even explain how great that feels. Also, when I first came into the class, I was on a lot of different medications. I was a little bit of a hypochondriac, but throughout the program, I actually weaned myself off of all my antidepressants and anxiety medication, and I have never felt better. I can't thank everybody in this class and Shannon enough for pushing for me to really focus on myself. I hated hearing her say that every single time, because I would always try to argue it. But no, it's you. You know, look at yourself, and that's really been huge. And so, what I got from it was, you know, life changing and marriage changing, and I can't thank you guys enough.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is very powerful. One first-person testimonial like that of somebody that's really, obviously that saved her marriage, maybe saved her life. You know, it really that's pretty important stuff. It's got to make you feel pretty good to be able to be involved in something like that.
It's very humbling.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is.
Because we stand in front of the class and we read, we show videos, and we encourage them to interact. And the curriculum and just the power of the course, there's miraculous things that happen. And that's not a buzzword, that's a true statement.
Wow.
She's just one.
She seemed, she was very sincere. That was it was very moving. So you get a lot of that, I bet. I bet there's, I would think I just think it would be very fulfilling to see the changes that happen in people and lives that are back on track. What have you got coming up at Family Life Skills? You have classes that go on all the time. It's not, 30 weeks is a long time. So you have 30 weeks and then you have a graduation and then you take a break while you get ready for the next session. Is that kind of how it works?
We have 13 facilitators, so it's not just us.
Okay.
And
thank goodness.
Yes. So whenever we try to about 8 people at least that are pretty committed to a class, then we'll start another class up.
Okay, so it's not always at the same, it's not always like January through September or something like that. Okay.
So we have, after the second class, we close the class down because we don't allow new people to come in because the group needs to bond and feel safe that they can share. Because some of the things that are shared have never ever been shared with anybody ever.
Yeah.
They've just never felt safe. And so after the second, third week, then we'll close it. And then we'll just take names until we get enough people for the next class. But we'll start another one in the Hood River area in September, men's and women's. And we also do teens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, and the teens are wonderful because they haven't gone 30, 40 years
burying
of
all
having
this
it
stuff.
set.
That's a good point.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they're so open, and we can do the teens together, the
boys and the girls together.
until we get to points on sexuality and stuff, and then we split them out.
Right.
We go through a lot of the same material.
Huh.
Loneliness, parents, anger, emotions, communication,
Sure.
everything.
So you have the location in Hood River, but you also have one in Clackamas now. Is that correct? So is it the same setup, same program? People, if Clackamas is more convenient for them, they could go there or Hood River. Those are the 2 locations in Oregon. As Misty said that she came all the way from Seaside. That's a pretty big commitment to come all the way from Seaside to Hood River every week.
In the winter.
In the winter, no less. Yeah. That's
At that time, we didn't have one in Portland, but now there's a center over in Clackamas by Bob's Red Mill.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know Bob actually.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I do. He's a good man. Good man. Yeah.
So
that's
they'll be
great.
starting up again in September also.
Great. So now you have a graduation also coming up. Is that correct? Now, but the graduation is open. Is that correct, or is it's open to other people to come to, or the graduation's closed?
It's open to the public.
It's open to the public.
Yes, because people ask us all the time, well, what is this life skills thing all about? There's no better way to learn what life skills is about than to listen to the students.
So at the graduation, would you hear people like Misty come stand up and
Yes.
talking about what happened? Okay.
That
Was
was
that
a
at a
graduation.
graduation?
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Oh, that would be a great way for people to find out. So it could almost be like an open house for you too, as well as a graduation. People can come and find out what to expect. So when is that taking place? That's in
That would be August 20th
okay,
at 6 o'clock
and that's in Is that the Clackamas location?
in the Clackamas
Yes.
location.
By
Correct.
Bob's Red Mill.
Yes.
Okay, and we have your website information on the screen. We'll put it up there so people can probably find all that on your website.
That's correct.
What do you get most out of it, Pam, going through this, helping to teach these life skills to people? What's the best thing you've gotten out of doing this work?
Well, for me, it's really been kind of selfish because I have grown immensely in myself. And every time I take the class where I teach it, actually, I learn something new. And I've done 8 classes from the time that we've started, besides the teens. And I learn something new every time because you're at a different process, you're growing all the time. And we live in denial in some areas because that is a gift that God gave us until we have the tools to process things, because we can't handle them sometimes. And it depends, on the trauma. But we'll push it away, we'll deny it, we'll blame, we'll have reactive behavior.
Some of us are very good at that.
Very good. Not making decisions or unable to make decisions is a real key of arrested development. Blaming other people all the time instead of being responsible. Trying to look good, not being able to let someone else have praise without you feeling bad. Yes, I've done all those. But so that I have grown in myself, and hopefully Mike can attest to that. But I think that, and then just the rewards of the relationships that I develop with the women, and also with the teens is, we've been called their mom and dads, because we've had one teen boy who, he wasn't even a teen, we were begged to take him by his aunt. He was starting to hang out with gangs in the high school and be influenced by them. And he totally turned around.
Wow.
We went ahead. He was 12.
Wow. And and kids like that, a lot of times, it doesn't, if you get to them too late, it's too late, you know, because gangs fill that family need.
It's the family need.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got to them in time. What about you, Mike? Obviously you see as your wife has grown, you feel like you've grown too.
I am not the same person I was 5
Is that
years
right?
ago.
And I'm assuming
And
that's
that's
a good
better.
thing.
I'm a better person.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a very good thing.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I get a lot of satisfaction out of watching the men heal.
I bet.
And I said before, it's very humbling to watch their lives change, to watch them work through the things and the lights come on and the realization that I don't have to be this way anymore. I can be what I want to be. It's very fulfilling. But more importantly than that is Pam's and my relationship is a lot better.
I don't know now how it couldn't be. You know, I mean, you have to absorb this information, learn from this.
So I have a better relationship with my wife and my children because
wonderful.
of this class.
That's wonderful. What about the relationships between the people in the class themselves? You said, that they bond. Do you think they keep those friendships after they leave the classes?
Absolutely.
Sure. Yes.
We have a phase 2 also of the program. So the phase 2 is taught in modules, and it can go for 18 months. So what it does is it takes the topics, like one of the ones that we start into is your roles in the family of origin, and how we will continue to be those roles, like a lost child or the clown mascot, because that's how we kept a balance or peace in the family. But anyway, we've I took a break for the summer, and the girls go, no. I said, yes.
Sometimes you need a break.
So they insisted we meet once a month. But the bonds are there, and because you're healing and you're growing together.
That's great. Yeah, I would think that there would be people who want to keep in touch. And after you've learned the most intimate details about other people's lives, it's got to create a bond that you'd maybe want to keep in touch with them. Before we run out of time here, are there any last things you want people to know about this organization? It's a nonprofit. Are you in need of any kind of volunteers if people are interested in teaching and being part of this? Are you accepting, like, I don't know if it'd be resumes, are you accepting applications for people to do that, or just accepting people into your groups? What's going on? far as that goes?
We're accepting students. We're looking for students. We want to touch more people.
Okay.
Our facilitator core is developed out of the graduates of the class.
Oh, really?
They actually cannot,
Oh.
you cannot teach a life skills class until you've taken the class twice.
Well, that-
So our facilitators have 180 hours of class time in before they're allowed to even put in their application on their own dime.
Wow, okay.
So
So they
we're
have to
looking
be committed and actually
Yeah.
buy
Yes.
into the program
That's correct.
personally
Yeah.
before they ever.
So we're looking for students.
Start
We're
there.
looking for people who want to buy into the vision of life skills, who would maybe scholarship somebody.
Oh, okay.
That's very, very helpful, because a lot of people who this class really benefits just do not have the money.
Sure, that makes
And
sense.
so if we could come up, every time people give a scholarship, there's been some organizations like Seroptimus and Clackamas who have just immensely
stepped up.
supported the program.
That's wonderful.
And,
So if there's an
those kinds of
organization
things.
out there that's watching this, maybe looking for a new
Absolutely.
project,
Absolutely.
this would be a nice one to look
Yes.
into. Okay.
So those are the two things we're looking for. In the near future, we'll be looking for another facility in the Portland metro area to expand into.
Great. Well, we are out of time. Thank you, Pam and Mike, so much. It's really fascinating. It sounds like you're doing a super job at Family Life Skills. So I hope some people show up for your graduation and check it out. I hope you get a lot of new students, and I hope that there's some organizations watching that might want to check into it and maybe take this under their wing as their project for the year and give some scholarships, because it sounds like a really important program. So thank you very much for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks for
watching this segment of Community Hotline. We'll be right back with more from Crowder Entertainment, and you'll love to hear about what they've got going on. So I'm Monica Weitzel. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Community media is priceless.
Valuable.
Community media lets you tell your story to fit your needs.
My favorite thing about community media is it's got to be the people's shows.
I think my favorite one is Karaoke Oli.
Oh, Karaoke Oli's
Yes.
a good one.
We sing live karaoke on TV for an hour.
Hamster versus Monster.
Nap time with kittens.
Community media brings programming like Chambers of Commerce, the Faith Community.
Psycho Chicken?
Do you have any UFO shows?
No, I wish we did.
I would like one of those too.
Yeah.
Children's programs, high school sporting events, and of course, the ubiquitous city council meetings.
Only when we hear from folks in their own voices with their own stories can we truly connect.